Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about job advertisements as it relates to driving diversity through recruiting efforts, which is going to be including transferable skills. So I'm going to start off by talking about transferable skills. What are transferable skills? Transferable skills are similar skill sets to the job that you're recruiting for, but maybe not exact. I'll give you an example. I worked with a client several years ago that they had a large workforce in the field that was doing a significant number of DirecTV satellite installations. They had a couple thousand people in the field, a lot of vehicles. These were mechanically inclined people that knew how to interact with customers in their homes. And that business started to decline significantly for them. And they thought strategically about how do we deploy this workforce to do something else. What do? They ended up in the appliance repair business. And what they thought about, now that doesn't mean that the people who knew how to install DirecTV satellite dishes knew how to repair a refrigerator all of a sudden. But they did know how to use tools. They were mechanically inclined. And probably most importantly, they knew how to interact with customers in their homes. So when you think about that's a perfect example of transferable skills. Certainly it required some additional training for them to learn how to repair appliances. It required a lot of different things, but they had a good baseline. And a lot of times like that, if they're mechanically inclined, you can teach them a new technical skill, but it's a lot more difficult to teach them how to interact with customers appropriately in their homes. And they already had that, and they did it well, and they got a lot of commendations for that. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this a little bit further and now dive off into recruiting for what we call more traditional diversity. And in this case, what we're talking about is we're talking about everything from background, culture, etc. Unfortunately, a lot of our organizations, they think about diversity from the perspective of, what's your nationality, what's your skin color. I'm sure all of you filled out a job application where they ask what the color of your skin basically is. And that really limits what diversity is, because people can certainly have different skin colors, but not really have a diversity in thought. They may have similar backgrounds and cultures and thought processes. So when you're thinking about that, I want you to think about it more for diversity can include everything from, what's their gender, what's their age group, are they handicapped, do they have a military background? What type of underrepresented group do I really want to recruit for? So think about it from a broader perspective. Now let's take that a step further. When you're trying to go after a specific demographic group, you got to come up and use words and phrases that attracts that group. If you have a workforce that is underrepresented by females, talking about things like, hey, we have a long-term paid maternity leave policy, that may be interesting to females more so than males. If you have an older workforce, talking about flexibility in hours and schedules may not be nearly as attractive as it is to a younger workforce or a younger professional. So those are things to think about. Those are phrases and buzzwords. As I've suggested to a lot of you, quick research on Google, you can get a lot of different ideas about that. So the next thing I'm going to dive off into here real quick is, where do you post those things? Now, if I was to post an ad trying to draw a lot of younger people to Facebook, that probably wouldn't work. The demographic of most of the people that peruse Facebook, they're not the younger generation. They're people my age. So there's a lot of different job applicant sites that draw people in from different ages, different demographics, different things. Think about those things. Think about universities. Think about different types of universities and the types of students that they attract and drive. So there's a lot of different ways to go with that. So a couple things to leave you with here. Think about transferable skills on driving diversity. Think about diversity beyond the nationality or color of your skin. And then also make sure that you understand that you're going after the people where they are, at the things that they're looking at, the things they're participating in. Have a great week, everybody. And of course, if you have any more questions on this particular content or anything else, feel free to reach out to me.